I would like to show you how you can overlay other data in addition to the wind information. So if we look down here, I'm back on the surface. I've got wind, air, and notice where it says overlay. I'd like to actually take a look at temperature as a possible data set to look at. So if I click on temperature, you can see the colors in the background change because now, in addition to the wind speed and direction, I'm also looking at temperature, and this is temperature on the surface. So I happen to be recording this screencast from Madrid, Spain, and we're in the middle of a heat wave right now, and you can see that right here. You can see that the temperature, there's a scale here. The red is in Celsius. Again, I can change the units if I'd like, if you want to look at it in Fahrenheit. So where I am right now, it's 98, I'm here in Madrid, where it's about 93 degrees Fahrenheit. It's actually a little bit cooler today than it was earlier. We can see down here in the Sahara Desert, it's at 109 degrees, so really, really hot summer that we're having here. So that's interesting. You can also, again, we can look at temperatures at different heights. So if I go up to 1,000 hectopascals, we can see we're up a few thousand feet. If I go up, we see the temperature gets cooler. Up here where the jet stream is, we see it's much, much cooler, right? We're down at, here where I am in Madrid, if I was to go up to where the jet stream is, it's minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So, not surprising that the temperature gets colder as you go higher in the atmosphere. So I'll go back to the surface. Maybe I'm interested in looking at some other data. So if I hover over here, it will tell you what this is looking at. RH is relative humidity. So that gives a sense of how dry it is. Where I am in Spain here, it's quite dry. The relative humidity is quite low. If I was to go over to my home in Boston, we'll see that the relative humidity is probably significantly higher, 40% over there, whereas in Madrid, it was down at about 16%. And then there's a bunch of other data sets that probably are not as interesting. This one called the misery index, which I sort of like. The misery index is an indicator of the heat, the temperature, and humidity together. So if it's quite humid, it may not be as hot, but if it's humid, the misery index would be higher. Today, actually, where I am, the misery index is not too bad because the temperature is a little bit lower and it's quite dry. Whereas if I go over here to Boston, even though the temperature is lower, the misery index feels like, here, let's put it in Fahrenheit, 92.3 degrees, whereas here in Madrid, it feels like 79.8 degrees. So you can see that there's, they'll take into account those as well. So these overlays can be useful as well.